Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to our Facebook Global Travel Update. Peter Greenberg here on another Thursday here, coming to you today from Los Angeles. I've been living on a few planes lately, as you can imagine. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But speaking of planes, there is so much stuff going on. In the meantime, if you want to ask me some questions, you know how to do it. Send them in. We'll deal with them. But I got to get right to the news. And that's the war going on, the showdown, the shootout, if you will, at the OK Corral between union members at Southwest Airlines, pilots at American, TSA agents, and their superiors over vaccination mandates. So let's go back and look at a little history and then talk about how explosive it's been getting. Number one, back about 8 weeks ago, when United Airlines told its 67,000 employees, get vaccinated by September 27th or lose your job. Well, guess what happened on September 27th? 99% of United employees got the vaccination. Only 1%, about 500, didn't. And as of yesterday, I think 290 were terminated by the airline. Delta came up with one that didn't have termination in there. There was an economic consequence. They said, get vaccinated by November 1st, or we're going to charge you $200 a month from your paycheck. It's going to be deducted to pay for what we think are going to be your medical costs for not being vaccinated. They're on their way to getting full compliance there. The Biden administration then asked airlines, didn't ask them, told them that as federal contractors, they would lose those contracts if they weren't in compliance with vaccination of their employees by December 8th. Well, interesting story. How do they become federal contractors? They've always been federal contractors. The airlines got their start in business by doing what? Flying the U.S. mail. So, as a result of that, American, Southwest, and Alaska gave mandates of vaccines to their employees, giving them a cutoff date. Get ready for this one. I still think it's ridiculous. November 24th. I think the date's ridiculous. Look at the calendar. It's the day before Thanksgiving. The Wednesday before Thanksgiving, the busiest travel day of the year. Historically, there's a movie made about that. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. We do not want to be in that movie. Let's not do the remake. Well, guess what? Looks like it's going to be the remake, at least in terms of our experience. What's going on because of that? The Southwest Airlines pilot union immediately turned around and sued the airline, claiming they had no right to do that. American Airlines Union is basically rumbling about the same thing. They haven't said it yet. But remember Southwest and their big meltdown 10 days ago, where they canceled more than 2,000 flights and delayed hundreds more? Well, the numbers are out this morning. That meltdown cost Southwest Airlines $75 million. And even though the airline and the union denied that there was no walkout or sick out related to the vaccination mandate, guess what Southwest Airlines did yesterday? They backed down on the mandate. Nobody's going to get fired or take unpaid leave if they're not vaccinated by November 24th. I have no idea what's going on there. At American, where they have about 4,000 unvaccinated pilots, while the airline hasn't said it and the union won't officially say it, let's discuss the subtext. Here it is. It's so easy to see. If you fire us, you won't have an airline. Who's going to fly the planes? So who do you think's holding all the cards? The pilots. Well, the same thing's happening now at the TSA. Only 40% of the TSA agents are vaccinated, and their union is now saying you can't make us do it. Now, the TSA was already understaffed, about 6,000 agents before the summer. They've not gotten anywhere near to filling that gap because first you got to find people to hire them, and then you got to train them. So they're nowhere near where they need to be on that one. And now they're confronted with a possible walkout or refusal to come to work if they force their employees to be vaccinated. And where is it all heading? Towards November 24th. Whoops. It's crazy. So let's just say, for the sake of this discussion, that none of this was happening. It was just another Thanksgiving holiday period. I said this before. I'll say it again. Why would you ever want to travel during Thanksgiving anyway? It's nothing more than an obligatory dysfunctional family get-together. I keep saying this. And this year it's better. Oh, no, it's still dysfunctional. Don't get me wrong. But it's better because Nobody has to basically recognize the holiday. We're working remotely, we're learning remotely, we're living remotely. Why wouldn't we just travel when we want to and work from there? My advice is, as you look at the airfare situation, which I'm going to talk about in a second, you don't want to fly that week in any year. You either fly the week before or the week after, otherwise known as the dead week. Now let's talk about airfares. Last week I told you they were going up between 3 and 5% a day. They still are, for three different reasons. One, jet fuel prices are rising a lot. Number two, people still are planning to travel during the Thanksgiving holiday period. And number three, we all know what's happening on November 8th. That's when thousands, and I mean thousands, of vaccinated foreign travelers are allowed to come to the U.S. from the United Kingdom, from Europe, from Brazil, from China, from India. And guess what? They're coming. Within 24 hours of the initial announcement by the Biden administration of the date, November 8th, bookings on websites for air travel to the U.S. went up 700%, and they're still going up. Search activity on those websites is 74% higher than it was only 6 months ago. So they're not just flying to the United States, they're flying through it. And because of that, law of supply and demand kicks in, fares are going up. There's no more seasonality left in travel. The fourth quarter of this year could be the biggest fourth quarter ever because people aren't waiting for spring or summer. They just want to go somewhere, and now they can, especially from overseas, to do the VFR traffic, right? Visiting friends and relatives. They are coming. So, first of all, the airfares are going up whether you like it or not. Second of all, if you plan appropriately, go the week after Thanksgiving or the week after New Year's. If not, you will be in the remake of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. And now we throw into that mix the labor strife over the vaccine mandates. You can fasten your seatbelt. It may not even make a difference. You're going to have a crash. It's leading towards that. Now, the economic consequences for all concerned are huge. My guess is it will be resolved, and that the companies that are doing the vaccine mandates, whether you believe in them or not, they're going to back down because the economic impact is just too great. And then we're going to have, more problems in other areas of people thinking that this is not a good idea, right? We've gone from a public health issue to a labor issue, and it really should still be a public health issue. That's my opinion on that one. Not political, practical. But that's where we're standing right now. So get ready. We're going to watch this space carefully because it has to be resolved soon or it's going to get even worse. Now, a little bit of Throwback Thursday for you today. I'm going to show you a picture and tell you the story of my involvement in it because it happened 46 years ago today. Throw it up. Yes, I was the West Coast correspondent for Newsweek. And the magazine cover you see on the right was the one that I did along with Maureen Orth, where we basically heralded the coming of the new the new Christ in music in 1975. Bruce Springsteen, someone who nobody in America even knew at that time, and a magazine historical moment. Both Newsweek and Time came out with the same cover story on the same person on the same exact week, and 98% of America never heard about him. Well, we've certainly heard about him since. So I had to bring that to your attention, making me feel very old. Think how Bruce feels. But bottom line is, there it is. Start of his career when he was basically crowned by both Newsweek and Time in the same week with the same cover issue. It doesn't happen very often, especially in the entertainment business. It happened then. Just want to share that with you. And there's so many stories that are associated with that, and the lawsuits that followed in his own life, and how he didn't record again for a year and a half. Crazy stuff, which of course he's talked about in his autobiography. But those stories were done both in Los Angeles. He was playing at the Roxy. You couldn't get a smaller venue, and that's where we did the cover story. So just sharing that with you about about Bruce and the E Street Band. And now it's time to get. So let's log in here. Mailing. I agree with you. It is ridiculous what's going on there. Kay, thank you so much. Bruce Springsteen, folks. I get a lot of Springsteen fans there. Thank you for that, Colleen. Mia's watching from Irvine. We got Lorena from Michigan. Uh, News bulletin just in from Tanya Moore. She just flew American Airlines and received two, not just one, two Biscoff cookies. Our voices have been heard. Yes. All right. Patrick's on the Majestic Princess somewhere in the Pacific. I see you've been posting on that on Facebook, Patrick. So have a great cruise. Hi from Oakland to Mike. Good evening from Tanzania, one of our favorite places. And as you know, we just finished shooting, at least, the next royal tour in our series of global television specials with the president of Tanzania. And that'll be premiering early next year. We'll let you know when, obviously on PBS. Ann Bouchard says, good afternoon from Ann Arbor, go blue. And stop it. You beat us at Wisconsin in a home game, and I was there. So stop rubbing it in. But I love you anyway. Okay, Chris is saying hello from, I believe, Uganda. Robin DeCarlo's in Williamsburg, and she's counting down 1 week to go before her 30th anniversary trip to Hawaii. Aloha. Okay. Positive feedback to Qatar Airlines. Flew back from Armenia via Doha. Yes, we love Qatar. They're a great airline. And if you take a look at their route network, you can fly them just about anywhere. They're right up there with Turkish Air. They fly to more destinations than anybody else in the world, and the connectivity is great. And in both cases, you're going through new airports. The new airport in Istanbul and HIA, the new airport in Doha. So thanks for sharing that, Nancy. All right. A Silver Sea Artichoke cruise, solar expedition cruise was just canceled due to supply chain issues. Wow. Alicia, thank you for letting us know. We will check into that. I'm surprised to hear that they did that. But then again, there is a global supply chain issue. If you can't get supplies to the ship, you can't provision the ship. How can you sail the ship? Look at what's going on here in Los Angeles Harbor alone. And, 40%, people don't realize this, 40% of what you eat, what you wear, what you drive comes through this port. And if this port's locked in and there's a waiting list to get in, you've seen those aerial photographs of how many ships are anchored out there, not far from where I am right now. You understand the supply chain problem. All right. Zach is saying good morning from Houston. And welcome back from Tanzania. Okay. Mike is doing the Crystal Endeavor Saturday and the Celebrity Apex on Halloween. Mike is a cruising fanatic. All right. Listen to this from Brian. I have a $230 round trip ticket, Dallas to Tokyo on United, the day before Thanksgiving for 6 days. I still want to go, but any chance that Japan quarantine will stop? Well, there's a chance it will stop, but before Thanksgiving, not so sure. Look, when you're dealing with Asia Pacific right now, and I throw in the South Pacific as well, countries like Singapore, if you want to go further south, but especially Australia, they're not stopping anything right now. Australia had kind of rumblings the other day that they might open up and that Qantas was going to resume service. Well, they are resuming service, but we still can't go. I'll tell you where we can go, Thailand. They've opened up for us now. All right. And in fact, Thai Airways is now resuming 39 separate international routes. And speaking of international routes, a big tip of the hat to United Airlines, the largest transatlantic development in the airline's history. They announced a lot of new routes last week. You may remember that this past summer they were going to Croatia, which is great, nonstop. And now they're going to be doing nonstop service to Amman in Jordan. It's high time. What a great destination. So let's hear it for United. All right, let's keep going down here. Oh, lots of more people here. Hi from Ecuador, from Marlon. Scott says, my Southwest flight from Islip to Atlanta was canceled last week, so I flew Frontier. It was a surprisingly wonderful experience. Let me tell you, two things about what Scott just said. One of my favorite airports in America is the most underrated and underused. It's Islip in Long Island. There are 3 million people out there on Long Island who will do anything they can not to fly from LaGuardia or JFK. Now, who flies to Islip? American has 1 or 2 flights a day. Southwest has a couple. Frontier does a lot of north-south traffic to West Palm and to Fort Lauderdale and Orlando, I think, and to Tampa. But Frontier also has a nonstop flight from Islip to Atlanta. I just checked airfares the other day. They're going at $49, right? What Islip needs is a long-haul flight from Islip to LA, a transcon. A couple of years ago, Southwest had one. It was brilliant. It was officially a transcon. It went Islip to Las Vegas. It was great. Then they pulled the plane off that flight because they thought they could get better fares elsewhere. Bring it back. The folks in Long Island need it. So I'm glad for that report, Scott. I appreciate that. Joy Daniel says, what is the airline book that you use to look up airline fares and where do you get it? It's called the Official Airline Guide. It's called the OAG. You can probably find them at oag.com, but don't sign up for the internet version. Get the book. Now, I have to caution you, it's not an inexpensive annual subscription because you're going to get 12 of them for whatever region you want every year, right? Comes out every month. It's going to cost you $500 or $600, but I promise you, remember, it lists every published flight in the world. There are 3 volumes: the Americas, Europe and the Middle East, and Africa, and of course, Asia and the Pacific. I don't shill for them. I spend my money with them just like I'm telling you to. No discounts for me. But I'm telling you, if you fly more than once a year, that book will save you. Because while everybody's online trying to find out, plan B when their flight cancels, or even trying to figure out plan A, going online but not seeing every flight listed, this book has it. And you're going to find the great secret flights in there that are published but may not be revealed on your online travel agency. So the name of the book again is Official Airline Guide. OAG.com is how you'll find it. But please get the printed edition and carry it with you. I can find flights in that book faster than I can log on and go online to find it. So, and I get everything, not just a limited edition. Tanya says, we'd love to see how you use the OAG. It's simple. Let's say I'm going from Los Angeles to Milan. Well, it might show me an old Alitalia flight, but it's also going to show me the Emirates flight out of New York. And it's also going to show me other flights through London. It's going to show me all the connectivity. And if I'm in Europe, it's amazing what it'll show you between those countries that may not show up on your website here. Guaranteed it will save you. Mike Lugan says, they suck. Who sucks? Be a little more specific, Mike. Ellen says, I'm flying to Jordan March 2022. Should I book the flight now or wait? Right now, March 22 is not going to be a busy time in Jordan. I would wait until after the first of the year. I'm not sure when the new United flights kick in. I don't think they're going to kick in that early. You probably won't be able to fly United on that flight, but wait until January. All right. Thank you, Ted, for those nice words from Naples. Okay. Here we are. Angel says, had my Southwest flight from Seattle canceled last week, and I was stranded in Denver for days. Finally got a car and drove home. We've heard so many stories like that. Called to make sure the car was there per your advice. Do you think Southwest would cover car rental costs? Here's what I think you should do. In the announcement this morning of their loss of $75 million, they attributed part of it to giving out what they would call goodwill. Keep your receipts, send them a note, nice letter, don't be adversarial. Let them know that, your airline flight was X number of dollars, but because they canceled it, it cost you X plus. And they may not give you money, but maybe they might give you a voucher or a credit to be used on another Southwest flight. It's worth it right now because I know for a fact that Southwest is really sorry for what happened. I mean, I've talked to their executives and they're trying to make amends. Look, they can't make up for your lost time. And they can't value your time the way you value your time. No airline can do that. But if you were stranded for days because the only ticket you could fly was Southwest and you ultimately gave up and drove, I would like to think there'd be some accommodation from Southwest. Please let me know what happens. All right. Elizabeth is saying, I can't find the OAG book. Elizabeth, here's what we're going to do. When we're done today, I'll make sure that next week I will give you all the information on how to find it. All right. Both online and by mail and even by phone. Okay. Anne says, I'm traveling to Italy in June. When would be the best time to buy airfare for this trip? Not this year. Wait until February. Not only that, Anne, is it mid-June or early June? Big difference because when kids get out of school and people travel. So let me know about that. I'm going to scroll back up to get more of your questions. Hold on. I'm still going down here. Oh, hello from Oakland again. Okay, we're scrolling some more. Nick's saying hello from Kona on the Big Island. Okay. Couple of Bruce Springsteen fans here. ML says hello from Arizona, my old pal ML. Okay. Hi from Playa del Rey, LAX. Question, this is from Lorraine about Clear. I've taken red-eye flights for 20 years out of LAX, have a new Clear subscription, and was sorely disappointed last Wednesday when I checked in for my red-eye at 10:10 and no Clear staff. I paid mostly for the convenience, but why wouldn't they staff along with popular flight times? I agree with you. And you know what? I will reach out to Clear. In fact, their CEO is going to be on my radio show the next 2 weeks. I'm going to ask that question, and we'll get you an answer. Okay. Hello from Austin. Nice to talk to you guys. We're going down here. These things just scroll a little slower today. Sorry about that. The answer is United starts in May to Jordan, so you won't be able to fly it before then. Debbie's saying hello from Palm Beach. Great weather, of course. Best time to go to London. Now. You know, they don't know from Thanksgiving. You're not going for a suntan anyway. Go now. Hold on a second. Here's one from Mia. Inspired by your Egypt shows and now booking a trip to Egypt next February, March. Is this a good time to visit? Yes, it is. Between December and March, you'll have the best weather. It'll be a little cool at night. After all, it is the desert. But no, I support that itinerary in those times of the year. And Ann says it's going to be early June for Italy. Great. Wait till February and book it then. It'll be easier. From Kara, any recommendations for Russia in December? Yes, paging Dr. Zhivago. No, look, where are you going in Russia? That would be the first thing. Second of all, how far east are you going? Right? It gets very cold. Let's talk about it. And you know it'll be cold. Going to Punta Cana, Joyce says, from Philadelphia. Which is the best time to go for airfare, December 7th or January 5th? You know what? They're both good times to go. I almost think December 7th. Nobody really travels between December 7th and like the 17th. Then you're in that Christmas window and all bets are off. So if you're going down for a week, December 7th would be my choice. Mary says hello from Michigan. Hello, Mary. Robin says our trip to Hawaii is on American and we are returning on November 20th. So glad we'll miss all the mess coming up on the 24th. Maybe not. Things may explode before then. Remember, the November 24th is the deadline, but this issue is going to explode way before then. So watch this space as we will. Nick wants to say, what countries that are open to Americans now that you would not suggest visiting? In my personal opinion, I can't tell you that I can speak for you. None. I'd go to all of them. Remember, it's not a factor of the vaccination levels of the locations where you're going. It's a factor of the vaccination levels of the people who want to go. And then one other criteria, the testing while you're there, not for their rules, but for our rules in order to be able to come back. Who's doing the testing? Will they do a rapid antigen test, which, by the way, the U.S. will accept? Remember, you got to do that within 72 hours of your return flight. And how much is it going to cost you? Many resorts, destinations, hotels, and countries are doing it for free because they want to get the message out that they've got your back so that you're not going to not go in the first place. But check that out ahead of time. Other than that, go. At least for me. Now that, by the way, that doesn't speak to any pre-existing medical conditions you might have or any advice from your doctor. That's separate. But as a general answer, you got it from me. Okay, Nancy says, hello from Falls Church, Virginia. Planning to go to Northern England in late March. Good time to visit. When should we purchase tickets or better to use United Miles? Well, if you're going in March to Northern England, the airfares will be low, but the mileage will be available too. And that brings up an important point. Guys, fasten your seatbelt. Get ready for another mileage devaluation by the airlines. Remember, as demand picks up, they're going to make it more and more difficult to redeem miles, and they're going to raise those redemption levels. So if you're sitting there with miles, they're not accruing interest. They're not increasing in value. They never will. And the airlines will do whatever they can, which, by the way, they can do. It's within their contract to change the rules at any time, which means upping the ante. So if you've got miles and you want to cash them in now for March 22, you're going to find availability, and you may even find lower redemption levels. So why wouldn't you do it right now? I wouldn't say that about a pay ticket now, but I would say about using miles now. Do it now. Okay. Where are we going now? Tanya says, I missed your show, Hidden Turkey, on PBS, and don't see that it will be aired again. Yes, it will be aired again. The stations always repeat over multiple weeks, and in some cases, multiple years. But the other alternative you have, Tanya, go right to Amazon Prime. You can see it right there. Okay? And let me know what you think when you see it. Hi from Punta Gorda, Florida. Hello, Betty. Natalia says, hello, I am from Russia. There may be cold in the summer, too. Yes, I've been there. I know. Many nights in St. Petersburg in July, I've had to bundle up. Okay, let's scroll down one more time, and then we're going to go to some of your other questions. In fact, let's do that now. And before we do that, let me give you, let's see if I've gotten everything I've done. Oh, I talked about the mileage evaluation. You got to remember that. It's coming. All right, some more questions that you've asked. Eric says, my wife has a muscle disease, and as a result, we always book bulkhead seating so she can extend her legs when in flight. But because she also uses a personal oxygen concentrator, American and only American Airlines refuses to allow her in the bulkhead, despite the fact that we can store her concentrator during takeoff and landing. It's not an exit row also. She can't sit in a regular seat for 10 hours. How is AA allowed to get away with this discrimination? Every airline worries about their liability. I can't speak for them, but what I will tell you is it differs by aircraft type. So, for example, if you were flying American Airlines on a 757, look for seat 10A or 10F, because there is no seat 10A, there is no seat 9A or 9F. You have a window seat with nothing but legroom and places to do that. I'll check into that. We're going to check with American and with the other airlines to find out exactly what their regulations are. And if you chime in this week, we'll get you an answer next week when we go back on Facebook Live. And Anthony, my assistant, has made note of that right now. We're going to get that answer for you. Brian says, will the Prime Minister of Japan remove the quarantine by Thanksgiving so I can buy a 24 in Tokyo trip? I haven't talked to him lately, but I will tell you right now, I doubt they will. We're looking really towards the end of the year at the earliest. Mary, do you think international travel right out of Europe is low cost for foreseeable future due to the fact that more Americans are traveling domestically? No, it's not at its lowest cost, because remember, all the Europeans who are flying to the U.S. are buying round-trip tickets. Those airfares are going to go up. So act accordingly. All right. Tim, Southwest Airlines seems like a total nightmare to fly right now. Do you think it will be okay to fly next week now that they took back the vaccine mandate for employees? Here's what happens, regardless of the vaccine mandate. Let's go back and talk about what happened 10 days ago at Southwest. No matter what else you think, whether you believe their story about an air traffic slowdown or a weather problem in Florida, my guess is the airline essentially overscheduled itself. It added too many new flights to too many new cities, and all you needed was one little hiccup in the connector chain, and everything stopped. That's what I think really happened. Everything else was incidental. They were maybe contributing factors, but there's the underlying factor. And I believe the underlying factor is Southwest tried to fly to too many places too soon with not enough people in case there was a problem and they needed to go to a plan B. They didn't have one. So what you're seeing now is I would have no trouble today flying Southwest Airlines in terms of schedule, because what I do know is that they and other airlines have learned a little bit of a lesson from this, and they're starting to preemptively take flights off the schedule, not cancel them, remove them, so that they're not going to be in a similar position. So just double check to see that your flight's still operating. And other than weather, if it still is, I'd have no trouble going on Southwest. Okay. Sharon, I'm ready to go back to the Caribbean. Which islands would you recommend other than St. Lucia or Jamaica? Well, funny you should mention that. Let me tell you where our radio show is coming from this week. It's coming from the Turks and Caicos. And in fact, we have a lot of interesting guests on the show, including the Premier Missick. I have a photo coming up in a second. And there it is. Yes, we're opening up a supermarket. No, we're not. I'm just shaking hands with them in the Turks and Caicos. They've done a great job. They were one of the first islands to open. They do require that you buy insurance ahead of time. And you have to do that. They have a testing regime, but you know what? What a great time to be there. A lot of social distancing baked into the islands. The beaches are not crowded. The water sports are endless. And the weather at this time of the year is stupendous. So that's one of the islands I would recommend. The other island I'd recommend that doesn't get a lot of press, it's Grenada. Look at the map. It's so far south, it's out of the hurricane belt. Grand Dance Beach is one of my favorites. It's a great location and not crowded. Okay, let's keep going here. Jerry says, I'm confused. If American Airlines is requiring employees to get vaccinated, I read that Southwest just backed down. But will any other airline mandate the vaccine for employees? Yes, Delta's already done it. Alaska's done it. The question is, under what provisions now will the airline mandate it, and will it have any teeth? Right now, the bottom looks like it's falling out of all these mandates based on the labor issues that are involved with both Southwest pilots and American pilots. We will watch that space and let you know. Linda, which credit card offers you the best travel rewards program? I'm looking at now. We can devote an entire show to that. And by the way, those rules and benefits and the perks change by the hour. You can check a great website, The Points Guy. Brian Kelly's been on my show many times. They update that all the time. Keep in mind, though, that The Points Guy, they're sort of like paid endorsers for a lot of these credit card programs, but they do tell you the truth in terms of the benefits. So check it out. All right. Anyway, our show from the Turks and Caicos this Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern to 1 p.m. Eastern. Check your local listings. And if you can't find the show, no problem. Go right to our website with the imaginative name, petergreenberg.com. We stream it live from about 10:05 a.m. Eastern until 1 p.m. as well. So follow us there. The show also becomes a podcast next Tuesday. So you can always keep up with us. And they're all archived as well on our website with the imaginative name, petergreenberg.com. But bottom line is, everything's opening now, with the exception of Australia, New Zealand, and parts of Asia. But things are starting to open. Argentina's open. Chile's not open. Chile is now open, excuse me. And that's a good deal. All right. Let's see. Mary Williams says, Hidden Turkey was fabulous. We're not going to show you the promo today, but I'm glad you liked it, Mary. Appreciate that again. Of course, you can watch it on PBS at your local station, or it's on Amazon Prime. And Debbie says she loved the Hidden Poland. Thank you. Whoops, my screen just got very big here for a second, and now I can't reduce it. So we're going to try to figure out how to do that. Hold on a second. It's even got bigger now. Well, this is crazy. Hold on. We'll scroll down this way. I've never seen type this big, ladies and gentlemen, but we'll get through. Captain Jonathan Atkin. Hello, Jonathan. Great photographer, by the way. He's saying hello from the Port of New York. Okay. Nancy Olson says, I have a scheduled trip to Egypt in December, rescheduled from over a year ago because of COVID. Is the process of obtaining a visa at the airport in Cairo easy? Yes, very easy. And they'll even take US dollars. It's called Visa on Arrival, and you'll get it. Okay. Let me go back over here. Got a few more questions to go through here. Hold on a second. Emma says, excited to see that Chile opened. Planning to book my first trip there. Any suggestions? Yeah, go between now and February, and you'll be okay. But remember, this little string bean of a country, one of my favorites, has about everything you'd ever want. You go up north to the Atacama, the driest desert in the world. Then to my favorite little city on the coast, La Serena, this old fishing village. You got the Lake District outside of Santiago, and of course Patagonia. You can't beat that. All the way down to the Antarctic, right? You can leave from there as well. But now's the time to go. Okay, let's go back down here. I'm seeing. Here we go. Hello from Northern Ireland, David says. Guess what, David? I'm going to be there next week and looking forward to seeing you there. Okay, here we go. I'm scrolling down. Gail says, Flying Southwest next Wednesday. Thanks for the info. All right, let me know what happens, Gail. Zach says, taking a quick flight to Mexico for 3 nights only. It's true I can take the COVID test the day I depart Houston. Yes, as long as you get rapid results. Trying to let Harris County save me some money. Remember, if you're going to a public health facility to get a test, make sure they're using their own lab and they're not outsourcing it, so that you can get an answer back on as an email within 4 hours. And then do what I do. Don't just put it on your phone, print it up, carry it with you. And remember, you're going to need a test on the way back as well. Okay. Hey, Ramy Warren, my old pal from the Home Show. How many of you people remember the Home Show? Gary Collins and Sarah Purcell. I was on it for about 4 years. Ramy was one of the producers. We missed that show. And there it is. But nice to see you again, Ramy. And so many great people came out of that show on ABC. All right, so a couple of other notices. It's time to go to the picture of the week. Oh my God, it's the photo of the week. This one's a wild one. It's coming up. And there it is. Look carefully at this picture. It was taken by Harold Proctor. He took it in London, but look carefully at the musician. He's sitting on a speaker, playing his horn, and what's coming out of the top of the horn? Flames. There's a travel experience. Loved it just for the humor there. Thank you, Harold, for doing that. If you think you've got a great photo of the week, be sure to send it in to us. It's peter@petergreenberg.com. Also, if you got any more questions for us and I didn't get a chance to answer today, email me. It's to peter@petergreenberg.com. We'll either answer it online or this weekend on the radio show, coming to you from the Turks and Caicos in the Caribbean. So there you have it for today. We'll be back with you next week, not from Los Angeles, not from the Turks and Caicos, not from Ireland, even though I'll be there early next week, but from another location that has great history, and we'll even have a special musical performance. How's that for a tease? So I'll see you next week on Thursday. I believe it's Thursday. I'll let you know if it's not. Is it Thursday? Is it Wednesday? Sorry, I've just been corrected. It's next Wednesday. We'll see you at the same time, though, noon Eastern, from this other location, featuring a very special musical performance and a great way to kick off the end of October, early November. So talk to you next week. Fly safely, be safe, and remember, we're going to watch this space carefully on the labor issues, both at Southwest American and presumably the TSA as well, because it's all coming to a head right in time for Thanksgiving. Not a pleasant situation, but we'll monitor it and let you know the latest information that we have. I'll see you next week, everybody, and fly safe.